So South Korea's central bank has now announced that it'll hold its interest rate steady. For more on what's behind this decision, we're joined by Professor Kim Yong-Jin, professor at Sogang Business School. Professor Kim, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So as widely expected, the Bank of Korea has decided to keep its benchmark interest rate at 2.5%. What's behind this decision?
Well, as almost like 84% of market experts agreed, to the hold of base interest rate, the BOK, made a decision like that. From the last decision of freezing the base rate at 2.5 in July, I think, there was nothing changed. The household debt is still high. The upward pressure on the housing price in Seoul is still lingering. The uncertainty of the Trump tariff policy is going on. The only thing, changed is the domestic consumption after government subsidy. Domestic consumption is still a little bit improved due to the supplementary budget spending, but it is not enough at the moment. If the BOK considered more seriously the economic situation, which experienced negative growth in the first quarter, it would have, cut the base rate, but did not. So, considering all the factors, it is reasonable for the BOK to hold the base rate unchanged. Moreover, there's no reason for the BOK to, make the rate cut decision earlier than the U.S. Fed decision, due to the foreign exchange volatility. So those the BOK's decision was quite understood.
I see. So when exactly can we expect the Bank of Korea to begin lowering rates? Many experts say it could be October. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's right. Most experts are expecting the rate cut in October. Basically, that is after U.S. Fed decision on the base interest. Jerome Powell signaled there might be some chances of a base rate cut of the U.S. in next meeting. The September meeting. So we see how the Fed, make the decision, and then also we can see around that time the effect of Trump tariff policy on the price. So basically, the Trump tariff policy is not effective yet in terms of inflation. So U.S. Fed will make decision based on that information, and we'll see what kind of decision we'll make in October at the central bank, FOMC meeting.
Right. And speaking of Trump's tariffs and the U.S. decision, a lot of attention is on South Korea's investment in the United States, as Korean companies said they'll invest $150 billion there. Now, this is reportedly separate from the $350 billion South Korea earlier agreed to invest as part of last month's trade agreement. How do you see economic cooperation between Seoul and Washington evolving?
Well, it is quite, surprised to see the numbers, but basically it is not like a kind of surprise, right? Because, it is a quite clear trend in that, companies are moving their production operation functions to the countries which are considered as a market. So that was, a recent trend. In this sense, the recent investment decisions of Korean companies are quite understandable. There are several venues for both Korea and the U.S. to pursue. In the very strategic areas like defense industry and shipbuilding industry, Korean companies have a strong production capability, and the U.S. companies have a strong design capability. If they go together as a team, I'm not sure they can make a team or not, but if they go together as a team, there will be a big synergy in those collaboration. So, and also in the manufacturing sector, like automobile and semiconductor, in which the U.S. companies have lost its capability, and the Korean companies can help rebuild the manufacturing capability by building the factories The near the market means the U.S. and then Canada and Mexico, right? And then this will be similar in the bio industry too. So it'll be great, for Korean companies and then U.S. companies together to make a collaborative business ecosystem. And then this is totally different types of global value chain, before the Trump tariff policy. So we'll see, the further development in the new business ecosystem or new global value chain in this trend of, the after wake of Trump tariff policy.
Right. You just mentioned that South Korea has strong capabilities in the shipbuilding industry and talked about how South Korea and the U.S. can work possibly as a team. And cooperation on shipbuilding is a major part of the two countries' economic ties, especially with the Make America Shipbuilding Great Again project. Now, this is set to include building U.S. shipyards, training shipbuilding personnel, and maintaining U.S. Navy ships. What's your take on this?
Well, I think the mascot is Make American Shipbuilding Great Again. That's the best outcome of the recent tariff negotiation of the U.S. with any other trade partners, right? This is a kind of signatory project, the U.S. and Korea can pursue together. It is a kind of exemplary case of the win-win strategy between the countries. I mean, no other countries, propose those kind of project to the U.S. and that will help, Korean companies too. So even though we need to see what will be happening to the project in the future, to evaluate, right? At the moment, it's too early to evaluate the performance. I believe it will create a great new business ecosystem, like I mentioned, where Korea and the U.S. are collaborating to build the best quality of Navy ships and maintain the best quality to give more power to the U.S. Navy. The Korean shipbuilding companies will be given the access to the U.S. Navy shipbuilding, which is, blocked, to any foreign countries. But Korean companies may have the chances to access to that market and also maintenance too. And while the U.S. Navy and companies will gaining the production and maintenance capability through Korean companies so that they could internalize those kind of systems. The key problem here is people, the training, shipbuilding personnel. The expertise in those personnel are the key to rebuild all this kind of ecosystem. So we have to really think about how to, grow those kind of expert in shipbuilding areas together.
Right, we'll have to see how that goes, and hopefully it works out well, the project. All right, Professor Kim, thank you so much for your insight today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.